One of the big organ failures that can cause this. Kidney. And that's because the kidney, if the glomeruli are not working properly, can actually spill protein out into the urine. Does any protein normally come through the glomerulus?
No. Right. It shouldn't. You shouldn't have protein going into the urine. I agree.
It doesn't pass the.
She's right, but she's wrong. Now tell me why.
Oh, it gets reabsorbed?
Yeah. Just say that louder again.
It gets reabsorbed.
It gets reabsorbed. So some protein does come through, but it gets reabsorbed. So it doesn't actually end up down in the urine. Now, well, so if you damage the glomerulus, what's going to happen? You're going to get more than you can reabsorb, and as a result of that, you'll lose protein. And what's the major protein that you're going to be losing? Albumin. So, yeah. Now you're right in the sense that it doesn't get into the urine in a normal situation. Yeah. But normally, some does go through. Why doesn't it get in the urine? Because it gets reabsorbed. Now here is a sheep, and he has this big fat head, which is due to edema. And here's a goat that has another situation that, well, it's this plus what the sheep had. Sheep has this too. What do you call that? Hint? Bottle jaw. And when you see this paleness like this to the sclera, you should suspect, especially in these goats and sheep too, for that matter, you should expect parasites. So this is Haemococcus that caused this.
Dr. Graham,
Mm-hmm.
did you say paleness of the sclera?
Pale, yeah. And the rest of it is pale too, but normally speaking, you see some vessels running across the sclera. Yeah.
Okay.
Way out it.
Okay.
And this is Haemococcus, which is the one that's causing it. But there are 3 stomach worms in these ruminants, and they are Trachostrongus and Osteitis. Okay. So Haemococcus, Osteitis, and Trachostrongus.
Doctor,
Yeah.
I thought someone told me that I thought that bottle jaw was zoonotic.
You thought that
Bottle jaw was zoonotic or no?
was due to what?
Is bottle jaw zoonotic?
Oh, no, not in that sense. In the sense that something gets transmitted from one species to another. No. Now, can humans have bottle jaw? Yes, they can. You know. But, and it may be due to parasites, but it's usually not the same one that's causing this, so it's not zoonotic in that sense. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, what parasites can humans get that you know about that occur in animals? Ascaris, that's one. What about another one? What's the cause of mad itch? Well, that's not one of these element parasites. That's a fungus. Yeah, and that's zoonotic. But that's not going to cause. That's not going to cause edema. Kids get this when they run around in the yard where there's been a puppy that's... Yeah, which one? Well, yeah, they get that too, but that doesn't really cause this.
Tapeworm? Hookworm?
Hookworm. Okay. Now, what caused the ascites in this animal? There's the ascites, that's fluid. There's the rib cage. The diaphragm is right along here. Here's the stomach. So what's this thing? That's all knobby and...
Liver?
That's the liver. So that's chronic fibrosis of the liver. Well, fibrosis of the liver, which is chronic. So, what caused that? Could be anything. A lot of times you'll find cirrhosis, which is the term used for this connective tissue in the liver like that, and you may not know what the cause is. It may have been some toxin the animal was exposed to. Which one? You don't always know what the cause is. Okay. And here's the last one. And this is edema as well, but what happened here? You got enough plasma protein, there's no leak in here, there's not too much pressure here, so what caused this?
Obstructions.
Obstruction of the lymphatics. And this is a case that we're showing to demonstrate this. So what do you think is causing this, these bumps? Especially when you cut across and you see this kind of white looking stuff in here. What's causing this?
Neoplasia.
Yeah, neoplasia. Now what kind of neoplasia?
Lymphosarcoma.
Lymphosarcoma. When in doubt, in most species, if you see a pale kind of neoplasm, guess at lymphosarcoma. Why? The most common neoplasm across all the species is what? Lymphosarcoma. Okay, and this is just it, histologically. And by the way, that's a lymph node. So the lymph node look like that? Be completely white like that? No. Where's the cortex gonna do? That's because the tumor is infiltrated throughout the lymph node. Okay. Now here is talking about the significance. Now edema in the abdominal cavity can be significant, and why is that the case?
What did you say?
Edema in the abdominal cavity can be significant, and why?
So that means that there's less fluid going to other parts of the body. Less fluid. Less nutrition to the brain. Impaired breathing.
Impaired breathing because of what?
Because of less space.
Pressure on the what?
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm. So, when is it an emergency situation to remove edema fluid from the abdominal cavity?
Always. During pulmonary distress.
Okay, dog comes in, got a big pear-shaped abdomen, hit it, you get your nice fluid wave. Now, when is it imperative that I remove that fluid immediately, or some of it anyway?
And they start turning blue.
Because what?
They start turning blue.
They start to turn blue? Well, that's kind of it, in the sense that they have problems breathing. If the dog is having difficulty breathing, then you got to remove some of the fluid, because it's pressing on the diaphragm, he can't breathe, okay? That's an emergency situation. Now, so what should I do with this fluid? Take it off and throw it away?
Measure it.
That's the first thing I'm going to do. But what else am I going to do?
Send it off to testing.
I'm not going to send it out somewhere. What I'm going to do is collect it, sterile it. And why am I doing that? Because
Cross-contamination.
I can give it back to him. Once I get his situation under control, I can give it back to him. That's got a lot of plasma proteins in it that he needs. The dog is probably skinny anyway because of, quote, cardiac cachexia. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give that back to him if I can, but not right away. And when I do, I'm going to have to give it back very slowly. So, yeah.
Does this depend on the case? Because I know that I used to work with I think it was a French that had, it always came in with a whole bunch of aside, like it was large aside. We would always remove it. They would come back in like 3 or 4 days and we'd do it again. So it just depends on case by case if you give it back.
Yeah, well, you would always think about trying to get it back. Now, if it's so quick that you really can't control it any better than that, what are you gonna say?
Luck.
Especially if he's having respiratory difficulty. What are you gonna say?
Hello?
You're gonna say, well, this animal has one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. What does that mean? The prognosis is good or the prognosis is poor? If the prognosis is poor, well, I'm gonna give it back. In that case, it probably is not such a good idea to do that. But initially when you get a dog come in, got this big abdomen, he's having difficulty breathing, you gotta take the stuff off. And you're trying to get it under control and then give it back to him. So if he's got heart failure, how would I treat that? I don't know if he's gotten that far with you in pharmacology yet.
No.
Where's my clinician back there? How do I treat this man? Well, I'm gonna take the fluid off.
Do something to maintain fluid out of the interstitial space.
To maintain fluid output, so what would I give him?
You want to give a diuretic.
Diuretic, okay. Now, what's the problem with that?
What's the problem? You have to worry about dehydrating the animal, right?
You have to worry about?
Dehydrating the animal.
Yeah, dehydrating the animal and also losing the electrolytes. So, now how many of you actually know what a diuretic is? Some of you raise your hand just because you want to think you know something. But anyway, diuretics are chemicals that actually cause diuresis or the animal to urinate. Okay? Now, you can control that to a degree, but there's a problem that you might get into with that. One is, as he said, you can dehydrate the animal even further. Or the other thing you can do is you can deplete him of potassium particularly. Now, if I have an animal that's hypokalemic, what's that going to do for his heart? First of all, his heart is doing the best it can to try and keep up. And if I take out the potassium, is that going to help his heart? No, it's really not. So you have to be careful about that. So what do they usually advise? For instance, I'm hypertensive. And as a result of that, I am on a pressure control pill and a small amount of diuretic. So what did the guy tell me when he gave me this? He said, well, you're going to urinate more than usual. Okay. And you have to replace your potassium. So I eat bananas. Why? I store some potassium. And also some fairly decent protein too. So that's what you have to do in that case. Now, let's look at some more here. If his heart is really having this much difficulty in pumping the blood around, I'm going to have to do something to try and help him. And try and assist his heart in raising the cardiac output. Now, what do you know about that would do that?
A blood thinner?
Foxglove. What comes out of foxglove? That's a plant. What chemical comes out of foxglove? Begins with a D. Digitalis. Okay. Now, or they call it cardiac glycoside. That number, digitalis is one. Now, why would I be careful about doing that? If my heart is already going to beat the band trying to keep up, and then I'm going to give it something that's going to beat it even more. So you can do that initially, remove the fluid, try and get that under control, but you also have to remove that effluent that his heart is facing when it starts pumping. So I'll give him some dig, and that's just to try and get him through the very initial phases of it. If I can get him anywhere near under control, I'm going to change my drug, and what am I going to give him now? What's the other thing that that's in my blood pressure stuff? We just talked about renin-angiotensin. So, what? How does that work? Renin, angiotensin, angiotensin 2. But how does it go to angiotensin 2? The converting enzyme. So what's my medication? Converting enzyme inhibitor. Okay? So that's the stuff you want to maintain them on. You might try and get them back in line with digitalis, but you got to give them something else because that's going to cut down on the compensatory effect that you're getting and that tremendous afterload that the ventricle is seeing every time it opens up to pump blood out systemically. Because the vessels on the angiotensin are constricted, right? So you want to relax them a little bit so you can get better perfusion. Okay, that's enough pharmacology. Okay, now, in this case, you have two brains, and if you go to that website, it's going to tell you that that's the normal one. But it's really not totally normal, because what this is from is a study where they were looking at cerebral edema and the effects of various kinds of medication, hypertonic saline and all kinds of stuff they were given. So this was a normal dog, but some of the medication they gave actually ended up giving them a little bit of edema. So when I look here, the sulci are not quite as deep as they normally would be, and the gyri are a little flatter than they would be, but not a whole lot. That's essentially normal. When I look over here, I see two things. One is this side the same size as this one? No. And I also see that. That's some hemorrhaging. So this one is far worse. And this animal died because of what?
Brain injury.
This is an experiment. The animal over here ate. Why did he die? It was the end of the study and they sacrificed him. This one may have died on his own. I don't really know if he did or not. But that's due to the damage that he had. This was a study on head trauma, and that's what they were doing, looking at comparing various kinds of treatments and doing it. And this one was pretty bad off. It didn't really help him very much. So what may have happened here? I see this hemorrhagic area over here, and then maybe some over here, but not nearly as bad as that. So what probably happened? How many of you guys watch NFL games?
Concussion. Don't you want to see?
Okay. All right, concussion. Now, what do they do as soon as somebody gets hit, helmet comes off, he wobbles a little bit, they go through what they call a concussion protocol to try to see how severe this is. And if it's severe enough, what are they going to do? Take his helmet from him, take him to the locker room, and the doctor's going to take care of him right away. Now, where did he probably get hit? Well, he got hit on one side or the other. It's kind of hard to get hit all over your head at the same time, even though you're wearing a helmet. So when your brain gets, when your head gets hit like that, it accelerates the brain inside the skull. So if you got hit on this side, what's going to happen? It's going to stack up on the other side. So what I'll probably see over here is some hemorrhage, and that's called coup contre coup. Over here, I'll see some damage too, because when that side got hit, it didn't mean nothing happened to it. So this was probably the side that actually got most of the lick in the beginning, and then where it hit the skull on that side. Dr. Tibbet will go over this stuff with you when he does CNS. Okay, here's the case. And this is in a horsey. And here's a problem right here. Any of you guys out there that are fathers know what I mean by that. Princess gets whatever she wants. Well, you got the ability to take care of that or not. So, Princess wanted a horsey. Daddy got her a horsey. And when you go out there, this is what you see.
No.
He's in the pink belt right now. Got this pendulous abdomen here. And I bet you I could get a nice fluid wave out of that. I can see his ribs. And he's not really bright and alert either. So, let's do a little more here. You walk around, you found a small stall, a small barn, and you see something in the barn too. What's the problem in the barn? In the barn.
No access to pasture.
The hay, what's wrong with the hay?
Poor quality.
Poor quality hay, and probably molded too, okay? So, we got some notion now as to what might be causing this problem. Might be, or might have initiated really with the thief. Dad didn't know what he was doing, so he didn't buy the proper kind of food, and probably did not stir it properly. Okay, so what else do we have here? What's this? How does he know this animal is dehydrated?
The skin.
Skin turning, okay? And so you get your blood sample, and you also start them off on some lactated ringers. And say, okay, you know, he's dehydrated, so I'm gonna give him some fluid. Yeah, well, that's a kind of good idea. And why am I saying it like that? What do you think might be the case here? If he really is dehydrated? He needs fluid. But what about his circulating blood, his red cells? Got poor quality hay on this.